From Julio Cruz and Gaylord Perry to Alvin Davis and Harold Reynolds to father and son back to back bombs. From Junior J, Joey, and Edgar with Randy, A-Rod, Dan, and the Sheriff to Ichiro Moyer and Mikey C to King Felix, Kyle Cruz, and Cano to the present with Julio, Gilbert, Kirby, and Cal. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. My, oh my, it's another sports podcast. Got to give a huge shout out to super producer Indy out there in Nashville, Tennessee, rocking the ones and twos. That's Vaden Podcast Services. Vaden Podcast Services bringing this show to life. Got to give a huge shout out. We're back on YouTube Live. We love all the homies in the live chat, dropping knowledge, telling jokes, the energy you guys bring. We dearly missed last week. But of course, my main man, he is back in his Corleone throne. RG, what's going on, bro?
Excuse me if my wealth got me full of myself, but cocky's something that I just can't help, especially when them 20s are spinning like windmills and the ice 32 below minus the wind chill. Filthy's the word that best defines me. I'm just grinding, man. Y'all never mind me. Can't you tell I'm excited for July 11th for the drop of the new Clips album? It's a hot summer, y'all. Freaky ass niggas need to stay their ass inside. Let's go to work.
Let's do it, baby. Well, talking about going to work, we are working and now teaming up with Romantic About Baseball, a fantastic Facebook page. We are now part of the Baseball Lovers Alliance. That's Romantic About Baseball, RAB on Facebook. You can find a wealth, several fantastic Major League Baseball podcasts, National, Mariners, Yankees, Mets, Braves, you name it. Go check them out. Romantic About Baseball. But RG, last week you told me the Mariners needed a big week to start off July, and for the most part, they came through. Talk to me about the week in baseball for the M's.
Cal tied the King Griffey Jr. with the most home runs before the All-Star break and still has 6 games left to see if he could break that mark. Julio found a way to sneak his way into the All-Star roster. The two deserving players that we had made our way on to, and Brian Wu and Andreas Munoz. Kirby had a fantastic duel today against Paul Skeens. Rosa Reyna damn near doubled his home run total during the homestand. Came into the homestand with 8, walked out the homestand with 14. Good to see him swinging the bat the way that he should be. The thing that just gets me, man, is it still seems like empty calories. When you look at the calendar, when you look at the standings, we're still 7 behind Big Brother, and we only gained a half game in the wild card versus a new opponent now in the Red Sox. Things to be happy about, but it's still moving in slow motion.
Mm. I hate to say that I've given up hope on the AL West division, RG, but I honestly kind of have. Big bro's been kicking our ass for nearly a decade now, and I don't know if the end is in sight this year. We talked about it together last week. Houston loses All Star after All Star player. They keep bouncing back. Right now, they basically have an equivalent record to the LA Dodgers, but Texas Power Ranger is right, man. We shut out the Pittsburgh Pirates over the entirety of a series. I don't care if this team's struggling. They are still a talented Major League Baseball team. These guys will hit the shit out of any AAA or 4A pitcher. That's what big league clubs do. But man, 0 runs over an entire series, bro. This is the pitching staff you asked for. This is what this team needs. The offense has honestly carried the team for stretches this season. As a whole, they have obviously cooled off, and we need this pitching staff to be top 5, or they are not going to meet the expectations they placed on themselves and the fans also have for this ball club.
But we beat a team that we're supposed to beat.
Yeah.
We beat a team that we're supposed to beat. Yes, is it nice? Is it nice for everything that happened? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Not diminishing the fact that they had a great great series right now against Pittsburgh. But we should beat Pittsburgh. And today's game should have gone exactly how it would have been. Let Skeens blow his load. And even though he did get 10 strikeouts, Kirby was with him step for step. And then as soon as we pull him out, we got one. That's great against Pittsburgh. We need more in order to be able to get this thing done. Need more. Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
Mm.
Yankees have been slumping. Yankees have been slumping. So next week doesn't look as daunting as it did 2 weeks ago. Yankees are slumping. And according to the math, we're gonna run into Scooble over next weekend. Let's get some wins before we get to Detroit. Need them. Absolutely need this series against the Yankees. Judge is gonna do what Judge does, but you can also get Judge out 5 times in the series.
Mm.
Do what we have to do. Do what we have to do. Have they announced the rotation yet for next week?
They have, but we have one blank, and I'm guessing Logan Evans is going to get that start. We got LG the OG to open up Tuesday in the Bronx. Nobody's slated for Wednesday, so I'm like I said, I'm guessing that's going to be Logan Evans. We got LG Wu Castillo and Kirby and Logan Gilbert to pitch the last game before the All-Star break. You call this week a critical series, RG. I'm going to call this road trip at New York and at Detroit. This is another critical one too, because what the Mariners are 46 and 42. That's only 4 games above 500. And I hate to be a negative Nelly about this, but it wouldn't shock you if we lost 5 games out of these 6. The Mariners, like you said, they have to bring their A game. The bats have to come through more. As happy as I am about this pitching staff over the weekend against Pittsburgh, 1-0 games over Pittsburgh back-to-back games is incredible, but also not sustainable. The offense has to come alive against these two ball clubs. They're coming with it, man. I mean, for Lord's sakes, the All-Stars have been announced. We'll get to the Mariners in a second, RG. But Detroit's having the kind of season where Javi Baez has resurrected from the dead and become an all-star starter. That's how
Probably
you have massive turnarounds.
probably the best story in the first half has been Javi Baez. Just the way
Mm,
he's been able to resurrect his career, and then it makes that Gleyber Torres pickup look like they were geniuses as well too.
mm.
They are definitely built. They are definitely built and constructed well. Again, when I said it was empty calories earlier, that's more of what had me come to that point. Is that yes, we had consecutive 1-0 win shutouts against Pittsburgh, but that's Pittsburgh we're talking about. You should be able to do that. You should be able to do that. If you can control Brian Reynolds and not let O'Neal Cruz get his hands extended, Andrew McCutchen, as much as I love him in the past, he's not the same player as old. And then really, what else do they have? Keep Brian Hayes isn't having a good year for him. So we should beat Pittsburgh the way that we do. But like you said, it's unsustainable moving forward. We're going to need more of the offense. Even Canzone went 3 for 3. Just continuing to be able to do it. But it's not about what we can do on a weekend against a team we should beat. It's what we can do moving forward in the litmus test about these teams we're trying to compete with in October. And that's like you said, that's exactly what Tuesday is. Tuesday is the beginning of the litmus test to see where it is against these teams that we're trying to compete with against October. Because when we come out of the All-Star break, we're going to run the AL West gauntlet and can't lose any ground to Texas or Anaheim, or it could become a very long, ugly summer.
That's a good point. And Anaheim and Texas are right on our asses too. If we have a shitty road trip right here coming up at New York and at Detroit, they're going to be tied, if not better than the Mariners going into the break. And I misspoke a minute ago. The Mariners are doing a little bit 48 and 42. So they'd have to lose all 6 in a row to end up straight at 500 at the break. This team can't afford to lose ground right now. They're not talented enough. We don't get enough production night to night. But I'm glad you mentioned Dominic Canzone because he has turned into one of my favorite players of the 2025 season. Because for the last couple of years, I have criticized him for being your prototypical 4A player. He dominates AAA, but he can't get above the Mendoza line in the big leagues. Right now, his average is over 290. His OPS is almost at 900. You referenced the 3 for 3, and we've always seen the power. We've always seen the power, but I'm seeing him be more of an intellectual hitter. He is working the counts. He is hitting pitchers. He's getting the tough singles. And if he can, if Dominic Canzone can maintain any amount of consistency, that power plays, and we got to be real, the Mariners need hitting from anybody they can possibly get it from right now.
Really loved one of the at bats that Julio had today against Skeens. Though he threw him a two seamer because it looked like the ball started in and then cut back out over the plate. And Julio put a level swing on it and rode it to right center field.
Mm.
And not even like a power shot, just a good solid line drive. I would love to see more of that out of him. We need to be like you said, we need hitting. We need hitting wherever it can come from, and not so much the power game because we are relying on the home run. I believe we're in the top 10 of teams who are relying on the home run to score the majority of those runs. What happens when those games don't come? We need to be able to manufacture runs. And I know there's some analytical nerd out here who's going to shit all over us in the comments somewhere, but National League Baseball might be the way for old school National League Baseball might be the way for us to get it here. We need timely hits. We need to be able to get people on, hit and run, move them over. We can't just be relying on the 3-run shot because that doesn't really work well for us. And we don't have any time to waste. We are in the middle of what is going to be the Mariners playoff push, and it started last week. We got no there's no room for mess up. No room for mess up. The pitching staff, we need health. We really need health. I like what I seen out of Brash. I would like to see us maybe make a move to get another arm coming in out of that bullpen, and whenever the expected return of Robles is, just to give us another constant bat. I don't think that him by himself is enough, but if he can come back doing what he was doing before he got hurt, that puts us in a really good position.
I got a question for you then. You're talking, about Matt Brash, who has been fantastic. The guy, he finally gave up his first earned run of the year against Kansas City, I believe. And Lord knows Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvi Perez own the Mariners. Every time we play them, those guys are raking against us. But the Boston Red Sox traded away one of your favorite sluggers in Rafael Devers recently. It makes me wonder if any of their other older players are on the trade block. And Mariners fans keep talking about Alex Bregman. I would be 10 toes in if they would make the trade for a third baseman of that quality. But who I'm thinking of in my brain right now, RG, is Aroldis Chapman. I've always had this psycho crazy dream that I want Aroldis Chapman and Andres Munoz together at the end of the bullpen. Add in Matt Brash, add in Spire, add in Vargas. This could be a devastating bullpen. And the reason I bring that up is because sometimes you have to look at different ways to improve your team. And almost all the competitors want hitting. There is not a ton of hitting that'll be on the market, but finding a dominant reliever will cost way less and maybe might be more available. Maybe it's not my dream of Chapman, but I think it's a great possibility because I look at game 2 against Pittsburgh. Luis Castillo goes 7 innings, no earned runs, looking like the La Piedra we all freaking love. Then you bring in Brash and you bring in Munoz, the game is fucking over. What if we, because I still am a huge Spire fan, and I've always liked Vargas. But what if we add one more top-notch dog? And if we can just get a Brian Wu consistent 6, this shit's locked down and over.
I want to give a shout out to Harrison Leonard joining the chat from us all the way from Colorado. Happy to have you with us, big dog. Thanks for coming in and rocking with your boys tonight while we sit and talk some sports. He says, can't forget they just iced out a red hot Pirates team with top 5 pitching in the league. Yankees won't provide this huge opportunity. It is. This is a very huge opportunity going for us. I do want to say this. You did mention a name, and there was even some talk about this during the ESPN pre-show to the doubleheader of Sunday Night Baseball tonight. Chapman may be on the move out of Boston. And could you imagine Could you imagine having to go through a 7-8-9 with Brash, Chapman, and Munoz? We
Dude, I
would,
would
in
love it.
essence, we would in essence be able to do what some of those powerhouse teams in the past have done and just turn it into a 7 inning game. Now our offense would need to do their part because we're not going to win a whole lot of games 1-0. That's just unrealistic to think that it could happen. But Chapman could be on the move. That could be an arm that we can go after. Like you said, I don't see a lot of hitting being moved across. And with this new situation with the wild card, there's going to be a lot of teams just in a holding pattern. We
Mm.
talked about St. Louis maybe being somewhere where we could get some players from, but it's obvious what their plan is. They're going to showcase some of their young stars and hope that they catch lightning in a bottle. Almost sounds like an approach I'm familiar with up in the Pacific Northwest. See what Trader Jerry can do. I just would love to see an effort to try to get us over the hump. Let's not just be content with staying in the third wild card position. Let's see if we can get up to the fourth.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I see our friend Nico from Romantic About Baseball is on the live chat tonight. And I wrote down here, Randy, he's right. Tampa Randy is here. Big game Randy. I hope we have an opportunity to see him live up to what we've seen in his history. Big game Randy Rosarena, 5 home runs in 7 days. 5 bombs in 7 days with an offense that is struggling to score consistently. Boy, we need every single one of those. And Mariners Lifer is asking about Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock. I am 10 toes down with the Mariners Lifer that Logan Evans is the correct move. I've said this multiple times. I was fortunate enough to see Logan Evans live in his major league debut, and he mixes speeds with a pitcher of veteran status, not a stone cold rookie. I love what he brings to the table, RG. And I'm looking at this. Emerson Hancock has a negative .6 WAR in each of the last 2 seasons. You can find any schmuck in AAA to do what Hancock's doing. Logan Evans' ERA is 2.51 points better. 2.51 points better. His ERA plus is 58 points better. The only thing I can think of, RG, is the hubris and arrogance from the front office and baseball ops that doesn't want to admit that a 12th round pick is a much better player than their coveted top 10 player. You and I both agree draft status shouldn't mean shit in pro sports. That's when you get picked to play. After that, it's all what you do with this thing. And I will be a very unhappy Mariners lover if Logan Evans doesn't get every opportunity to keep doing what he's doing, and that's balling out.
The arrogance of the front office. It's because it's not in their magical equation. And they know better than to try to step up and try to pat themselves on the back for any of this. The fan base would just kill them. Or at least we would. Maybe those guys on 710 will suck them off for it, but you're not going to get any of that love from us over here. No, it's time, man. It's time. Make the investment in your team and make us better. Make us better. We're there. Do not waste this golden opportunity that we have to get Cal Raleigh an MVP this season. Get him some people who can hit around him so they just don't pitch around him. Get us some constant bats. We need to win some games. Rumpin stays here punching air right now. Shout out Meredith's Lifer. Dude, for real. I just don't see it, man. Um, but yeah, real talk, man. This feels more golden of an opportunity than 2022 did. And
Mm.
let's not waste it. Let's not waste it. There was even some talk of them making a play for a third baseman that we might be familiar with. This guy out of Arizona named Eugenio Suarez.
Woo.
But again, we would need Arizona to feel that they don't have a chance in order to be able to consider that move.
Mhm.
There's some real good possibilities. Now, of course, financial constraints are going to play a huge part of what we can and cannot do. But for God's sakes, this feels like a good chance to be able to make a move, especially while there's still some repositioning to do in the standings.
Mhm.
I say we go for it. Me and you even had a conversation offline because of an article that came out that's saying, should we risk any of our top 10 to make a deal with Atlanta for Ronald Acuna Jr.? And I already was shipping boxes to their house for them to pack their shit and get out of Tacoma so we can get Ronald Acuna Jr. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He should have never been traded. But it just we were looking for a way to get strikeouts out of our lineup, and him and Teoscar were two of the biggest proponents of that. So, we had to do what we had to do. But if there's a chance to be able to get him back, because that guy's been kind of hot since we let him go. I mean, you were willing to run it back with Mitch Garver. I mean, with Mitch Haniger. Why not be willing to run it back with Gino? But it looks like there's something should be in the works. I feel we will do something. It may not be glamorous, but as long as it's a step in the right direction and not, well, let's get this guy and hope he can hit 222. And it would be real nice to see if second half Julio can still find a way to get going before we get to next Sunday night.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. We need it right now too. And hey, let's get into this since you just mentioned Julio. The Mariners have four All Stars this year. Cal Raleigh, the undisputed king of catching on planet Earth right now. We got Brian Wu, who is now the fourth different Mariners All Star starting pitcher in the last 3 years. That's four different dudes in 3 years. Then we got Julio Rodriguez and Andres Munoz. Talk to me about any of those guys in particular. And to me, in just a sentence, this illustrates to me how top heavy the Mariners roster is right now. This is so dependent on the guys at the top. And this is why I really hope we make some moves at the deadline just to bolster the lineup, because if our top guys aren't doing work, it feels like there's not going to be a W that night.
I feel like Wu deserved it. I feel that first
Oh,
and
hell,
foremost that Brian Wu's the man who deserved that nod to be able to get to go. And with the stats that Munoz has put up, it makes it real desirable. The question mark for me is Julio. That might have been a whole lot of heavy fan support just because they really, really love the swag. To me, I don't think he's had an all-star caliber type of year. Am I glad to see him go? He's a Mariner. 10 toes down, true to the blue. Happy to see Julio go. Do I really, really think he deserved this opportunity? I'm going to go on ahead and say no. But since he's here, let's not waste the most of this opportunity. And since you were voted an all-star, it's time to give us that all-star level performance that you have been paid hundreds of millions of dollars to deliver before you were age 25. I don't want to hear nothing about the pressure and you're too young. You already cast a check. I'm going to need to see some turn on revestment, Mr. Rodriguez. What you going to do? It's time for that dude to grow up. Time for that dude to grow up and embrace it and go all in to be able to make sure that if somehow, some way he woke up with that Mamba mentality, that dude be a beast, and that's what I need from him. Whatever sparks the fire to get him say, you know what, I need to come here and hit early. I need to come in and stay late and hit it. I need to not worry about if my shoes are fucking bedazzled. I need to worry about becoming a top 10 player in this fucking game because that's what we paid him hundreds of millions of dollars to be able to do. I need him to work like Cal Raleigh. He works like Cal Raleigh. I think we get to the ALCS.
well,
But
putting
we
in the work
need him.
doesn't translate to production, though.
But hey, at least show some type of fucking effort for it, though. The dude's multi-talented. The dude is above talented. If he had the work ethic behind it, I'd love to be able to see it. I'd love to be able to
Well,
see it. Figure
all
out
the
a way.
reports said
Learn
that's
some
not the
patience.
issue. He works.
Learn some
Just
fucking
look at the
patience
dude.
at the plate. Learn some patience at the plate. Learn to not just go up there chasing that after everything. Dude's never met a fastball he hasn't liked. But for God, something needs to turn the corner because if we can get him playing at the level that Kyle's playing at, dude, we're unstoppable. Because then you
Okay,
can't
I got
pitch
a
around
question.
Kyle.
So, pitch recognition. Do you think that is a skill that can be taught, a skill that can be learned, or is pitch recognition an innate ability that you either have or you don't?
I think recognizing arm slots can be taught.
Okay.
Picking up the spin on the ball might be hard because that's dependent on science and your eyesight. You know, um, but I think being able to recognize arm slots are coming and tails too. Tails too. Kirby has one. I'm not going to tell you
Mm.
what it is. I want you to find it. But Kirby has one. Kirby has a real blatant one, to be honest. But just different things like that. What is it that you're prepared to hit? And I think he has. He should spend some time in Edgar's office. No cameras around, no other players around. He should spend some time in Edgar's office because Edgar was real good at that over the course of his career. I think he could. I think it could help him. I think it could help him recognizing arm slots and trying to recognize some tails. But I don't know how you judge one's ability to be able to shout out Meredith's Lifer. If my wife can recognize pitches out of the hand, Julio should be able to too. I'm gonna just leave it there.
Joke of the day, man, for real.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Not gonna blow up that comment. You can write. You got it, big dog. You got it, big dog.
Well, the one thing is the reason I just asked this question is because I feel at times Julio struggles to recognize the pitches quick enough. And I kind of lie in the middle, sort of like you, that there's certain tells, there's certain arm slots. You can make educated guesses if you do enough homework. If you study enough behind the scenes, you can make educated guesses up there. But my point being is the only reason I bring this up is if a certain percentage of pitch recognition is an innate ability that can't be taught, then I don't know how much we can expect from Julio long term above a bunch of strikeouts, 250, and hopefully 30 home runs because it's just such an important factor in baseball. And then maybe you can improve though, because I feel Cal's come light years the last few years because he's hit everything out, low and away, at the very top of the zone. Center cut meat bell is what you have to do damage on. And since I just said that one expression, RG, it just popped up in my head. That's what I struggle with Julio with the most right now, is him not doing damage on center cut meatballs. That's what has to happen. When pitchers make pitchers pitches, man, that shit doesn't bug me. If there's a perfect slider that starts the middle of the plate, then ends up on your ankle, well, you tip your cap and say you got me. But there's way too many times where there's a 94-mile-per-hour fastball, middle, and it's just fouled up into the third level behind home plate. You have to do damage in the major leagues there because this isn't little league where you're going to see that pitch three more times in at bat. You get one cookie, you got to do damage. And I don't even want to point out Julio, but with the exception of Cal, it feels like every Mariner fouls off way too many meatballs that they have to do damage there.
It is faster than the blink of an eye to be able to make the decision. We'll shoot you a little bit of bail here. It is faster than the blink of an eye to be able to make those decisions when you're up there at the plate. Step back in the box a little bit. Even the way the hitting is taught when we're younger doesn't change as you get older. Your ability to be able to recognize and react to faster pitches coming is what happens when you get age. But the mechanics of everything is still, if you're getting your doors blown, take a step back in the box. Let's work on his hand placement and make sure we're having a path where he's trying to punch the ball with his right hand instead
Mm,
of letting the left hand lead too far. I forget who they were playing the other night, but they had a pitcher in who wasn't throwing anything over 92 and threw two meatballs up there and he fouled them both off.
yep.
And he fouled them both off. You throw that pitch to Judge, he's bouncing that ball off of Lumen Field. You throw that pitch to Otani, he's hitting it here to the Hit It Here Cafe. it's something about the way that those things haven't developed in his game that gives me the alarm of whether or not the juice was worth the squeeze. I know he's a generational talent, but his contract says he should be one of the top 10 players in baseball at the end of every season, and he's not living up to that.
I'm out. What do you think his contract is in terms of annual salary amongst baseball?
I haven't looked at the numbers.
60th.
Wow.
Shit changes fast. And this is not me like saying, dude, he's got like a $200 million contract when it's all said and done. The Mariners actually made a very shrewd move locking him up when they did, because at this point, if he doesn't reach the elite talent that he has, which may not happen. You heard me last week compared to Justin Herbert, and I stand on that, man. There's a lot of guys with elite talent that aren't really elite players, they're just really good. But I just want that for food for thought that he is 60th in annual salary.
And that's in
Life,
fluctuations, and that's in fluctuations of different contracts that have been given out ever since he signed his, right?
yeah, it's just a raw number for 2025. So you could have signed him at any point in time. And so that's for what it's worth. The guaranteed money's huge, though. There's no question about it. I mean, it's like a 12-year contract.
All
Good
right.
move by the
All right.
Mariners, though. If he fulfills every year, then it's age 34 and they're completely done.
Good. Need him to start doing some production, regardless
Yeah,
of what he
no,
gets. We just need more
I
from
need
him.
the slug. A
Yeah.
710 OPS is just not good enough. I'm not going to shy away from that at all. A 710 OPS from a man that talented is not good enough, but we can't shy away from the fact that he is a really good Major League Baseball player. It just sucks. It's funny that we say it like this, that his fielding is what makes him the Major League player, not the hitting. And this is why you talk about prospects are suspect till they come up and prove otherwise. And I also talk about you never really know what a prospect's skill set is until they get to this level. You never really know. Some guys are completely different than what you imagine in your brain, but shit's a lot different, man. We could probably come up with, you know, 100,000 people that could play single A baseball. And there's only a couple out of those guys that can actually play quality big league ball. Acuna Jr. for Julio. I
I
don't
was
know. I
just
don't even
about
want
to
to
get
mess
there.
with that.
You're making us jump the gun too early, Mariners Lifer. I needed Ty to finish
Team
his
up.
point, and that was
Team
gonna
up.
be and that was gonna be my question to him. If it were to come down, 3 of our top 10 in Julio for Ronald Acuna Jr., would you or would you not do it?
I mean, what didn't he go for like 40 and 70 a year ago?
Sure did.
Frick. 40 and 70?
40
I mean, are you
and
shitting?
70.
40 and
40 and
70?
70.
I mean, the only thing that worries me is the two ACLs. If we could turn injuries off like a video game, this wouldn't even be a question. But you know what, RG? Would you clear the farm system via the San Diego Padres and the Juan Soto trade to get Acuna Jr.? And personally, I would take the risk.
Well, I said as we were talking about the other day, like you said that we look at San Diego and where they're at now, and I had to remind you that last year they were 3 outs, so they were 6 outs away from denying the Dodgers a championship, and they didn't have they didn't have Juan Soto on that team. They're better than what people think they are, and they still have enough firepower to be able to make a run. I I guess what frustrates me is I just don't see the end game with having a great farm system, but none of those guys come up and really make any huge headway when they get to the major league level. So
Mhm.
what is it that we're doing with it? What is it that we're doing with it? And if we have a chance to get a former MVP, a 40-70 type of player, what is it that we're holding on for? Cal and Acuna would be a scary duo. Imagine all those OBIs for Cloud. I'm telling you, man. Maybe I'm just dreaming a little bit, and I don't have the trade productor up on one of the screens, and I could try to enter it in and see how it goes. But for a guy like Ronald Acuna Jr., if it cost us a handful of prospects and Julio, Sammy Sosa style. I'll see you later, baby.
Well, let's go back a couple generations of Mariners baseball, RG. You remember in the Jack Zarenzik regime, they tried to load up on a bunch of star prospects, bring them up, and try to do work that way. How did it work out? Montero, no. Smoke, not really. Ackley, no. Seager was the one that wasn't supposed to be that good and was the only one that turned
Amen.
into a stud, And
True.
so, as much as I love these prospects, the reason I love them so much is because it gives you flexibility to make moves. You can't trade dog shit for amazing players in this league. And that being said, I would pull the trigger on Acuna Jr. I would be
Shit,
willing to
hold up.
pull the trigger
Hold
for
up, dog.
Suarez and
Hold up, dog. Hold up.
let's do it.
Didn't we at one time trade Jason Varitek and Derek Lowe for Heathcliff Slocum? So you can trade dog shit for good players in this league. Don't tell me that.
Well, not intentionally. Not
I seen
intentionally.
the Mariners do it.
That's
I
terrible
see
scouting.
I seen the Mariners do it.
It's funny you bring that up because whenever I bring up possibly trading Harry Ford on social media, people light me up saying, "Oh, remember when we traded Veritek and Lowe for Heathcliff Slocum?" You can't be scared to make trades in 2025 because of one
Yeah,
horrible one 28 years ago.
you can't. You can't pay dividends for Boston though.
Oh, we set them up.
Pay dividends for Boston, but they do us a bit of good. Didn't we do something stupid too and letting Adam Jones go to Baltimore?
Yeah, Adam Jones and I can't remember the name, another quality starter for Eric Bedard. Then there was another year at the trade deadline where we traded Sinshu Chu and Asdrubal Cabrera for Eduardo Perez and Ben Broussard. That is the unmentioned, possibly worst trade ever. Because that
Yeah.
helped set up the Indians, although they did not win the World Series in that time frame. That helped them set up a really good young core with Sizemore and those dudes. They really made a run on that thing. So I got to ask you then: would you be willing to trade a Hall of Prospects for a Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor to upgrade first and third down the stretch? And I believe both are expiring contracts, so it probably would be a rental.
I'm fine. I'm fine with it. I'm absolutely fine with it. I don't care how we put a banner up there in T-Mobile Park. Just get it done. As long as it's not NCAA basketball related, and they'll come and sanction us and take it down 2 years later. Shout out to Rick Pitino. Yeah, I don't care how they get it done. I don't care how they get it done, and I don't have any problem with a 1 year rental. We're trying to do something that we haven't had a chance to do in our whole lifetime, and that's to see us playing the World Series. I'd make the move for it. I'd make the move for it. I absolutely would. You get great turnout in Seattle. Get us a team that has a chance to have World Series potential. Those turnstiles are going to turn. You're going to make your money. You're going to keep making your profit. And if you let those guys walk at the end of the year, so be it. You've bought yourself enough leverage with fan support up there in the Pacific Northwest that come April, them turnstiles gonna keep fucking cranking. Go for it. Absolutely go for it. D-backs won't admit it. Shout out to Nico. D-backs won't admit it, but they're probably selling at the deadline. Whereas the Nailers are free agents after the season. Yeah, that's back to Ty's point. But yeah, why not go for it? Who cares if you have to rent it for years? You see NBA play teams do that all the time. Just get somebody at the deadline who's going to be out, but its ultimate goal is to help them get to the conference finals and then a shot at the Larry. Go for it. Absolutely go for it. You knew that the Florida Marlins weren't going to be able to keep Josh Beckett and Miguel Cabrera, but they kept him in the pocket long enough to get a World Series. Why can't we make the same type of risky move? You already have the majority of your fan base eating out of your hand with no results. Give them a little bit of results and see what happens.
Shit. Do you remember those early 2000s stadiums, man? I know you do. You remember watching on TV, man. You could have had a you could have like a Wednesday night in the middle of April sold out if the Mariners are a legit 100 win type of team, like a legit World Series contender. You can sell that damn thing out every single night, even during the school year. You You gotta put forth a little more, maybe a lot more, man. It's making me crazy though because it's not like we're the ones that came up with this Acuna Jr. trade idea. This was a writer for the MLB Network. This I would have called bullshit. If one of my friends brought this up, I would have been like, "Man, you tripping? Don't even bring that shit up. I don't want to listen to this bullshit." But someone with stature in the game brings it up. It sheds a new light on it. I also want to bring up RG. Acuna Jr. has like either 3 or 4 more years of very cost-friendly, controllable years on his contract. We're talking like he signed like 7 years, 100 million. This guy's like $17 million per year for a 40-70. I mean, if you're a baseball fan, 40-70 doesn't even seem real to me. At 17 to 19 million dollars a year, that's a freaking steal.
But it's also the exact type of move that we both know good and hell well the Mariners front office just will not make. They want Ronald Acuna Jr. if they could pay him the $5 million they gave Luis Urias last year. That's what they're out looking for.
I'm asking them to front the money. The double Mitch, which is off the books next year. RG, front me the money. I promise I'll be good for it. Come after my ass if I can't.
Oh, you better believe that. Ski mask and hooded up. I already got the address. I'm gonna need it on time. I'm gonna need it on time, and don't cash at me short. Don't you hate it when you let somebody borrow $40 and they Apple pay you $40? It's like, dude, I didn't give you $39.25. I gave you 40.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. But again, where things could have been better, but we're in a position where we should be able to get something out of this. Health is going to be huge for us along the way. We could use some fillers to make us a little bit better. It's really all up to what the front office wants to do. And then that's the story of the Mariners franchise as a whole. Do we have the support from the rich guy in the suite to want to go out and actually see us succeed? Or does he want to give you just enough to make sure that the tail end of August and September has some good revenue and then tell you, hey, man, sorry, but that's what happens when you try to just go after 54%.
Okay, I got a quick question then. Cole Young, current starting second baseman, 21-year-old rookie. Would you put him in a trade package to try to get a legit difference maker?
The only person I'm not willing to trade is Cal, Woo, Logan, and the Moose. Other than that,
The Moose is timeless, bro. The Moose is timeless.
you need to hurry up and retire his jersey. Yeah. Other than that, anybody can get it. Anybody can get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's pro sports.
Hmm?
No hard feelings. These guys know the
Just business.
business. And
Just
if their
business.
feelings get hurt, that's your problem. Honestly, like we all have our lines of work and it's easy to get your feelings hurt over this and that, but if it's really business, you got to sit back and tell yourself this isn't personal, this is what it is. We're not here to just give away money, we're here to make it. So god
Very
damn it,
few
I hate it
things
when I
in
sound
life
like
are
Mariners
irreplaceable.
ownership.
Very few things in life are irreplaceable. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, cogs of the system aren't.
I know I'm very replaceable, that's why I give my best all the time.
Shit, I'm a DEI hire, so they're gonna try to hold on to me as long as they can.
The 1980s reading posters in your local library.
That's right. That's right. We needed some ethnicity, diversity in this class. Let's go hire this guy. No, man, it'll be interesting to see how it is. But hey, true to the blue, baby. Here to support them no matter what it is that they do, no matter how frustrating it could be at times. But this does feel like it could end up how 2022 did. And if we just make the right decision.
Mhm.
Mm.
Let's go back into the time machine in a minute here, dude. I read that the Mariners haven't had a starting all-star in 10 years. It's been 10 years since the Mariners have had a starting all-star, and that's Cal Raleigh. I'd have to guess the last one was
Julio
Cano.
didn't start in L.A.
I don't think so, and if
Oh,
he
he was
did,
just
he
in
would
the
have been a
Derby.
replacement. Oh,
Huh.
yeah, that could have been. There's another factor. I want Julio to be in the home run derby. The guy hits ground balls at an absurd rate, and usually with pretty high exit velo. We actually need Julio in this derby to get that ball in the air some more. Because when he can get the ball in the air, great things happen. The dude just beats the ball into the ground at a ridiculous rate.
What I don't want is for him to enter the home run derby and turn into Bobby Abreu from a couple years ago. For those of you who may not have been paying attention, Bobby Abreu entered the home run derby as one of the hottest home run hitters in the league, and then came out of the home run derby and spent the rest of the year hitting about 153. So has its pluses, and it does have its diminishes. Remember, Albert Pujols was in the home run derby, hadn't done shit, then came out and set the world on fire. Uh, whatever it takes, whatever it takes, whatever it takes. You can have him go to Balco for all I give a shit. I just want to see it happen.
Boy, that would be great.
I think I got Victor Conte's number. Let me go ahead and put it up on the screen.
We saw what that shit did for people. But I'm with you, man. I'm very positive about the Mariners right now, but I'd be lying to myself if I wasn't critical at the same time. And I think that's kind of where we've been at on this show so far. It's good to see the Mariners are in the last wild card spot. It sucks that Houston has just caught on fire in the last month or so. We got a gigantic road trip to finish the first half of the season, but the 54 percenters, man, they got to be competitive all year. They might not care about the World Series, but they sure as shit care about us being in the mix all the way. And I want to rewind just a little bit. This is why I get frustrated in the offseason, though, right now, RG, is because not all teams are adapting as quick as they need to the expanded wild card. There's only 4 to 6, maybe 7 teams that are truly out of playoff contention right now. And this is what Major League Baseball and the owners wanted. There is so much more revenue to be made if the fans feel like their teams are in playoff contention. And that makes it harder, like you referenced. It'll be harder to make deals at the deadline. That's why I need to see more urgency in the offseason.
But it gives you that window to see how much your theory is or isn't working.
Mm.
And that's beneficial for the billionaire. Who's it not beneficial for is the people who live at the Mendoza line of wages in this industry who you want to come out and support this product 81 nights a year.
Mm.
I got a call recently from the Suns because I had season tickets, a half season ticket package from the Suns, and they tried to get me to re up. And I told them I'm going to need to see some success on the court before I can make that type of investment. You got plenty of people in Phoenix who you might be able to trick as that. I still have to commute 6.5 hours from Albuquerque to get to Phoenix, which isn't a tall task. I'm able to do it. Blessed. But at the same time, I need to know what direction you're moving this team in because I'm not just going. I want to watch good competitive basketball. I don't want to see us start 17-2 and then only win 19 more games the rest of the year. That's fucking embarrassing. That's fucking embarrassing. But we all fan for different types of reasons. And that's one thing we will never tell you to do is tell you how to be a fan. I like to see my team go after championships. I got that with my hockey team. My football team does a really good job of trying to position themselves to go after
Hmm.
championships. My basketball team was there and then they overcooked the stew. My baseball team just is hoping to wish upon a star and have another 116 win season fall in their lap and hope that they can use some retread tires to be able to do it. Need an effort to see if you really, really want a championship.
Mhm. And that's a one-off magical season too. Let's not get it twisted. That's a one-off magical season that completely imploded at the end, like the Titan submarine earlier this year. So, RG, you just delved into the association a little bit. I know you like to place a wager or two. Can I get your thoughts on what may or may not be going on with a shooting guard named Malik Beasley?
I don't know if we have enough time left on the tape, uh, but I will tell you this. For a guy who, up until this point, has made $60 million in his career, tell me how you've made those type of numbers and you haven't paid $116,000 in rent to your landlord. And your landlord, according to reports, happens to figure out, happened to figure out that your landlord is Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then you owe a barbershop over $25,000 in unpaid haircuts. And to quote my man Bomani Jones, shout out to that barbershop, because if one person owes them $25,000, they must be cutting the fuck out of some hair. You owe a dentist $35,000 in unpaid bills. And the dentist was able to win a suit against you so he can garnish the money you owe him out of your paychecks. Then you have the questionable calls, where if you tie it all together, looks very, very damning. Jalen Brunson hits a three to put him up. You're in the corner for a three to be able to put you guys back in a winning position. You are number 2 in the league in threes, right under Anthony Edwards. Beautiful pass that you just so happen to drop out of bounds. Then, for those of you who have seen the story on an old school guy from Arizona State named Headache Smith, who made it completely obvious at the end of Arizona State games that he was playing to manipulate the spread. You see similar behavior from Malik Beasley. I just don't understand why, if you have that type of money, you are doing what we do and trying to hit player prop parlays instead of just betting straight. And if you live in a state that has walk-up windows, don't have your homie do it where there's a paper trail. Have him walk up to the goddamn window with cash.
Yeah.
But us old school cats just think differently than you young school cats do. You know, you guys got all this pretty technology, and I'm telling you, this pretty technology ain't doing nothing but turning you and your homies into snitches. Think about the moves you make.
That
Think
whole
about the
situation
moves you
makes me
make.
sick.
It's sad.
It
It's
that's what
really
that's what I'm saying.
sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad. Because then we have to then open up Pandora's box and talk about Pete Rose, who admitted his sins, will not get a chance to get his flowers while he can still smell them. It took Big T to talk shit to Manfred for them to get to reverse position on how they felt about letting Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. At the same time, turn on any baseball game that's on the MLB app throughout the course of the week or that you watch on MLB TV or TNT and see if they aren't talking about betting props right before the game starts. Dead in bed with the gamblers. But yet you still want to hold something over Pete Rose's head? It's fucking ridiculous. Harrison Leonard drops in and says, saw an article today saying he, with all they're starting to uncover, he might end up behind bar. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. When you owe money to the right people and don't pay them, your world goes into a tailspin. It used to be just be they would send Johnny Thumbs to come find you, but now they got political homies who will just have the courts do whatever they want with you, unless you're Diddy.
I think Beasley might be screwed, but I truly hope this is a cautionary tale for all these other young ballers in these
It
leagues.
won't be.
I really
It
do.
won't be.
Yeah,
It
you're
won't
right.
be.
But I mean, I hope.
It won't be. You know, everything that's happened in the history of the world should be a cautionary tale on how we should move. And there's always someone every day who thinks that they have found something new under the sun. Shout out to the homie Von Shady joining us from Boston. Trade him to the Suns. Last thing we need. Last thing we need is that headache. Dylan Brooks is already going to provide us enough entertainment. We definitely don't need Malik Beasley.
Okay. What would you think about if LeBron got traded to your Suns?
He ain't coming. LeBron ain't coming. LeBron's only going where the power dynamic is set up for them to win a championship. But that's not where we're built at in Phoenix. We're still trying to figure it out. We're
Mhm.
still competing with the seventh best team in the West. What was
Okay.
interesting was the offer that Golden State made. That was shut down. The Golden State tried to get LeBron and KD, not together,
Ooh.
they separate. But yeah, um, for everything, I thought this when LeBron went to LA. For everything that his business world is involved in, it behooves him to be in LA. It's a lot easier to get those meetings done when you can do them before and after practice and after games and before
Mhm.
games because the guy does have an empire built out that's away from basketball. So LA is a place for him to be. Um, and we are far enough into his swan song where it's okay if basketball is not the most important thing to him right now. Because the difference between him and Jordan is that LeBron has made his fair share in basketball. Jordan never got paid what he was worth in basketball. I can't say that about LeBron. Um, well, I take that back. LeBron probably hasn't gotten paid what his absolute worth is as well too, because you still got to put people around him. But he also has done well enough in the empire and the things that he's built outside of it that he's well compensated. There's a reason why there's only a handful of billionaire athletes, and he's the only one still playing that makes that list. But
Mhm.
I think it's a good thing for him to be in LA, just because of the business of LeBron does better when you're in that type of dynamic.
Makes it easier to film a Space Jam, which I will never see.
It happens, man. It
Yeah,
happens.
I ain't tripping. I mean, if the money's there, the money's there. I just really wanted to get your take on Beasley though, just because I know you love the association and you
Mhm.
like making wagers. So
Yeah.
it
And
it,
it won't
it
be
hurts because I hate seeing that kind of shit, man.
and it won't be
He's
the
probably
last
never
one.
gonna play in the league again.
And it won't be the last one. It won't be the
No.
last one that'll come up. It'll these they give you just enough rope for you to go out and hang yourself with.
Mm.
And it just goes to prove you that whether you're worth $60 million or 60,000 a year, just be responsible with the things that you're doing.
Yeah, no doubt. I get that. I get that. Well, y'all, my oh my, it's another sports podcast. We had some listeners that had some very positive feedback when me and RG got into a little bit of a musical conversation last Sunday evening. And so I had an idea, and I'm calling a complete audible because it's something you said off mic just before we went live, RG. Some of my favorite collaborations in hip hop have been with Clips and the Neptunes. You said Clips is coming out with a new album in the very near future. Talk to me.
All right, the 11th, they're going to drop their new their new album come out, and it's already has generated a lot of buzz, not only from the two singles that were released, but from the fact that a verse that they got from Kendrick caused a dramatic shift, and they had to leave Def Jam in order to get this record put out.
Mm.
and Rock Nation happened to sign them to be able to get it done. And to me, that's still a little tricky because it all falls under kind of the same umbrella. Um, I wouldn't say Tyson. I wouldn't say that they ever broke up. Just Malice went the route of Christian rap, but and changed his name to No Malice. But even now that he is back with his brother, if you've listened to the verse that he dropped for "So Be It," that boy has bars that doesn't have to cuss. And we ain't talking about Will Smith poppy shit. I mean, that boy's got heat and doesn't have to put his personal convictions at jeopardy. Um, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. If you're a fan of Pusha T and old school clips, you're still gonna get you a fair share of drug talk because just cocaine's what brought him to the dance. But I'm excited for it. And like I said, the Kendrick verse has caused a lot of controversy just because of some of the things that are going on behind the scenes with some of the power brokers and some people afraid that they may actually be in jeopardy of losing that Drake lawsuit. Um, but it's good to see guys who were putting out music when I was the young cat running these streets trying to get it in, still be able to perform at great levels. Still be able to perform at great levels. And, music changes and eventually we'll have to give way to the young cats and the rest of the mumble rappers can just go on ahead and take it what it's there for. But when you get someone like the Clips and Pharrell is showing his ass with them, and there's even a mention of Pharrell no longer being part of Neptunes. That's a sneaky little bar that's in the new
Mm.
song as well
Mm.
too. Um, excited for it. Really excited for it. Really decided to see Pharrell show his musical genius. Really excited to see what these two can put behind it. And if you're not a Pusha T fan, I get it. If you're not a Malice fan because you haven't heard of him, I understand. But if you got a chance to go on your Apple Tools or your Spotify and listen to Lord Willing, it might change your opinion about it. But it's just good to see these guys have longevity. I think that that's something that the industry is missing. That Big X, the goat for real. I could tell you're from Texas. Um, and it's not that I don't like Big X. It's just there's nothing new under the sun, and there's nothing that he's put out that'll be different from anything that UGK and Screwed Up Click has put out. Travis Scott is really the only one from Texas who didn't follow like the Texas model on the style of music that he makes to be able to get out. But Travis Scott's music just isn't for me. And I don't try to tell anyone who they should or shouldn't listen to. Music is eclectic enough that you can find your jam in anything. Just rap is hard. Rap is a hard genre to make it in. And the gauntlet of what it used to take 20 years ago to get your name out compared to how easy it is just to be a TikTok or a SoundCloud rapper now, they're not the same. And I still don't understand how you guys make money for that. They can say what they want to. This new generation can say what they want to about Eminem. 69 million people over the course of his career before we got to the digital age left their house to go buy a $20 album. But things just ain't the same.
I love it, man. I love it. Man, we scratching the turntables with RG out here, man. But I love your wealth of knowledge, man. We're scratching the turntables with you, man, and I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just taught differently too. Like when we were coming up, we would hear something, we would run to the older cats, and the people I used to run with that used to always ask me, "But where did it come from? But where did it come from?" And you realize that this song was a sample off of this song, or was a sample off
Yep.
of that song, and it introduced you to music that came out 40 years before you were there. And you give it a listen to it because the first guy who redid it gave it justice, and the second guy who redid it gave it justice. Like, what's the one popular song that Juice World has? Lucid Dreams. Tell me the three spots that Lucid Dreams came to before it got into his hands. And I'll tell you who actually put out the second best version of that song after Nas did it. And it's not Juice World. but that's
Hmm.
for you to do the dishes on your homework.
There we go. RG giving us hip hop homework assignments, man. My oh my, it's another sports podcast, baby.
Yeah, man, love it all, love it all. To even know some of the old school rock and roll guys that gave beats and tracks to Michael Jackson, to listen to Dave Navarro talk about where he got his drum patterns from, and they would be from groups who don't look like him.
Hmm.
Hmm? And Dave Navarro
Bringing up
should
a
strike a
little
chord with you.
Sheesh, man. Bringing up a little Michael Jackson production. The hidden gem of Seattle, Quincy Jones, the legend. The legend. I would consider Quincy the second greatest musician to come out of Seattle after one Jimi Hendrix. And Garfield High School in Seattle, famous for its basketball program. Their performing arts theater was donated by none other than Quincy Jones. Shout out to the legend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ties it together more than you know.
Good shit, man. Good shit. Love it.
Yes, sir, man. Anything else you got? Oh, before I move forward, I do want to give a melancholy part of the show. Want to send thoughts and prayers to the family of Bobby Jinks.
Hmm.
Jinks, if I'm saying that right, was a closer for the White Sox in the mid 2000s. Was a two-time All-Star. Was dominant in their 2005 run to the World Series. Died this week at age 44 due to stomach cancer, and a sad and tragic one of the passing of Diego Jota and his brother. For those of you who don't know, he was a soccer player in Europe. I want to say he played for Liverpool and part of the Portuguese national team. He and his brother died in a very violent car wreck this week, and they were both under the age of 25. I turned 42 in the next 8 days, and it hurts me to see young people pass and not have a chance to live to see their full potential. And not that I'm the oldest guy in the world, but the thing that I've learned to love the most over the last few years is the the value of what life is, and you only have one to live, and for it to be cut short before you have a chance to really begin to enjoy it is really really unfortunate. Um, Want to give 10,000 prayers to their families, and this thing is precious, so you got one to live, so live it to the fullest, man.
Love it, man. Rest in peace. I love how you always remember to pay our respects because we absolutely should. And the older you get, the more you think about existential type of stuff in your life. So just my condolences to all those families and for anyone for that matter who's lost someone recently. Our thoughts and prayers are with y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We were talking about Dave Parker last week, the
Yep.
MVP of the 1979 All Star game. Uh, 5 points if you tell me where the 1979 All Star game was at.
Kingdom.
5 points to tie.
Yeah. If it was any other stadium, I would never have gotten it.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So there's even a play at the plate that he makes, gutting someone out from the outfield. And yeah, you know what? That's good too, Tay Williams. Normally I keep it to sports and not talk about the rest of world events, but the
Oh,
flooding in Texas has also caused some tremendous loss of life. The Guadalupe River, which correct me if I'm wrong, Tay, is in San Angelo, Texas, which is in proximity to San Antonio. The weather caused the river to fill, and there were some girls on a camping trip, and they haven't been able to find any of them. So definitely thoughts and prayers to the people that have been in Texas affected by the floods, and just summertime gets real, y'all. Summertime gets real. And again, you got one life to live. Want to make sure you live it to the fullest.
amen, brother.
Yes, sir. Anything else you got for the people?
No, man, just a huge shout out to the live chat and a huge shout out to Romantic about baseball.
Yes, sir. Happy to be a part of their network. This has been My Own Mind, another sports broadcast brought to you by the good folks of Vaden Podcast Services. We try to be live to you each and every Sunday night here on the airwaves of YouTube. And thank you for those of you riding with us in the live chat. If you can't be with us in the live chat, with the recording of this episode does drop every Tuesday morning wherever you like to get your favorite podcast from. Big shout out to our social media director, Miss Katie Masamoto. Thank you for all it is that you do to help us keep a vibrant presence on the internet. Be sure to follow us at our socials at myasp. You can find us here on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, as well as TikTok. We try to put out content once or twice a week just to keep the fans engaged, and we are grateful for each of you that follow us. Our super producer Indy has a music page here on YouTube. It's called Death to Indy. Make sure you follow him. Go like some of the tracks that he's put up. And we always welcome any of you that are free on a Sunday that have access to Discord. Come join us live on this side of the camera. We'd love to hear your thoughts and get you in the mix a little bit and see what it is you think about what's going on in our sports climax right now. Big shout out to everybody in the live chat. Big shout out to the guy on my right who makes all of this possible. That's Ty Talks 24. Make sure you follow him and for to stay up to date with everything that he does. Coming to you out of Little Lake Stevens, Washington. The guy who makes us sound like $1,000,000 responsible for the things you see on the broadcast. That's super producer Indy holding it down for Vaden Podcast Services out of Nashville, Tennessee. You know who I am on the shit talking king from the Cinco Cero Cinco 505 Nuevo Mexico. Come see me, ask about me, bring the blickies if you come looking for me. I have Haitians surrounding your house in 3 days. Big shout out to the 505 and everybody that rocks with me here in Albuquerque. We thank you for joining us each and every Sunday night for another live broadcast of My Oh My. It's another sports podcast.